Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to Be Me Global Podcast, a safe place where you can authentically keep it real and be yourself. I'm sure our audience really enjoyed our last episode, and we are ready to take a deeper dive into the journey of Rosalind Thomas' story on the topic of brokenness and forgiveness.
My first flight was to Dallas. And while I'm on this plane, though, I got my eyes closed tight. I've never felt anything go that fast on ground. So I'm quoting Psalm 23, Lord is my shepherd. I mean, I'm going in because that fear is moving me, right? So the fear has me at another place. So the flight takes off. We get up so many miles in the air. He says, sweet face, that's it. I said, what you say? He said, that's it. We just altitude, we gonna level out and we're just gonna fly. I was like, are you serious? He said, yeah. I was like, you mean it's I snapped. I was like, you mean to tell me I've been scared of that all my life? That? Oh, babe, you couldn't keep me off a plane. And that was in 1984 and we in 2023. I ain't been off the plane since.
So he helped you overcome
So he
that
helped
fear.
me overcome that. But it's amazing how we went to Dallas. He picked Dallas.
Y'all
And
had
then
lunch?
now I live in Dallas.
Ah,
You know what I'm saying?
okay.
I was like, we had lunch. I forgot where we ate at. That I can't remember. We ate at some restaurant in Dallas
and then just flew back.
and flew right back to Chicago. I had to go to work the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was
But you were
adamant.
free. You were free
He
from
was,
that
oh,
fear.
baby. Look, and when I got back, you couldn't stop me. My favorite pastor back then was my favorite pastor. I called his church in California and talked to his secretary and told her, I want to come and visit because I would see all the people waiting in line. She was like, well, I'm glad you called. I'll show that you're coming from Chicago and you just walk by the people. Don't even just keep walking, come to the door. I'll have your stuff at the door because when you're visiting, they'll make, everybody else live there or whatever.
Okay.
But when I got back, I'm telling you, I started booking flights. I was just booking them. I took my son to Disney World. We went to Minnesota, visited his grandma. I mean, we went to Arizona for New Year's Eve. I mean,
You were just flying.
Oh my God, because I was mad. So that's why I would tell people, don't let fear rob you. Fear is a robber, even when you don't understand the consequences. I would tell my younger self, don't let nothing stop you.
Right.
Don't be scared of
Lean
anything.
Into it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So he helped me with that. Now me and him, we're our because he was so sweet. It's like I'm in church, but me and him are doing our sexual activity without a hitch, without a, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm hearing the word of God. And it felt like every time I heard it, it was challenging me to stop sleeping with him. But my rebuttal to God, the creator of the universe, was, excuse me, I gave all them other rascals some. This person deserved it because he was just so precious to me, right?
Wow.
And it's just amazing because, like, my son still remembers him. Okay. He just cared for me and my son like nobody else did. Right. You know what I'm saying? He was just so kind. Yeah, I mean, he was just kind. He treated me, and I just knew yeah. But anyway, so
with God's grace.
Yes. So now I'm flying and stuff. God is challenging me to have the conversation with him. Okay. That was a hard conversation because, I mean, I really didn't want to stop
Mm-hmm.
having an intimate relationship with him because that it was just so real for me. It
Mm-hmm.
was so beautiful just being around him in his presence. He always made things better.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was going to be a hard conversation, and I was like, "Oh Lord, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if I
Mm-hmm.
could. So I knew he was special because I was like, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, eventually down the road, I had the conversation with him. I told him, I said, I love the Lord, right? He was like, yeah. I was like, well, he's challenging me to stop sleeping with you. And I think I have to because we're not married,
Mm-hmm.
so, I need to just be sleeping with my husband whenever he show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you got a lot going on with your children and their moms, so I mean, we're our friendship is so precious to me. I told him, I was like, I don't think we'll ever stop being friends, ever, but we gotta stop this thing.
Okay.
So he said, okay. I was kind of shocked
Mm-hmm.
because, yeah. So he said, okay. But the next day he came to my house. And he was the kind, I'm washing dishes. He come in talking about, all right, sweet face, you wash, I dry. And then we, kind of sat down and ate some time together, whatever. He was just that family. I was like, yeah, I could do this. I could do him.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, he came the next day and he still want to pinch and kiss. And
Mm-hmm.
he was like, wait, you didn't say I couldn't touch you. You said I couldn't have sex with you. I was like, but our relationship is so close. Whenever you touch me, I want to have sex. He was just that kind,
Okay.
put his hand on me or hug me or
Mm-hmm.
don't kiss me, please.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pinch me on the bottom. Don't do none of that, right? So he was like, man, I didn't know it was gonna be like that. I was like, yeah, I can't handle it. So, and he even tried. He's so precious. So one night, we still ain't had no sex. But we on the let out couch. I had that for a bed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 a.m., I'll never forget it. He woke up and he was disturbed. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
He said, something wrong with my kids.
He had
A dream. He had a dream
Okay.
that a fight broke out where his second baby mama lived, and she has his two youngest daughters,
Mm-hmm.
and he felt like something happened,
Okay.
and he needed. I was like, yes, go see about them and let me know, because we were just concerned about each other like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he went over there, and it was a fight, but his
Mm-hmm.
baby mama and his children were safe,
Okay.
and so. I don't know how long after that happened, he came to me. He said, Sweet Face, I need to ask you something. I want you to be just honest with me, how you feel about it, because I care about how you feel. He was just special.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, what is it? He was like, after the dream, there was a thing he had going on about his kids. He was at my house a lot, but he saw them a lot too. The other
Mm-hmm.
kids were grown. I think they were grown. And he said, how would you feel if I gave my baby's mother, my two daughters' mother, a chance and had a relationship with her so I can be around my daughters? I can
Mm-hmm.
raise them, help raise them.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, it wasn't even a split second. I was like, absolutely. He was like, for real? I was like, I think you should. Them are your children.
Mm-hmm.
And you ain't been nothing but good to my son. So I think you should go and take care of your kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? Baby, what I do that for my grandmother, she went off on me. Because when you know people have all this other drama going on in their choice of men, And then he come along and you let him go
Mhm.
because she felt like I should have told him no, and we should have got married, and we should have arranged something for his kid. She had her own plan,
She had her
child.
own plan.
Listen, my grandmother, she was like, damn fool. And I mean, you is, I don't see how you did. I mean, and people,
Wow.
I'm sure other family members were like, what? They broke up because she. Anyway,
Wow.
um, but for me, the way he cared for me and my son, how dare I?
But that was a very unselfish
Oh,
act.
baby, he was never
Wow.
selfish with me and my son.
An uncommon act.
Very.
The,
But
the the action typically is what your grandmother expected.
correct.
But the fact that but the fact that you said no, you go.
You go be with your kids.
Mhm.
I couldn't even see myself saying no to him like that because I felt like this. If you man enough to ask me something like that, I'm woman enough to say yes because that's on your heart and I care about your heart.
Powerful.
I care about
Powerful.
your heart because I knew he cared about my heart and
Mm.
my son's heart. So I let him go. We remained friends, and my birthday came up. And I don't know if it was the next year. I don't know when it was. All I know is it happened. I'm in church, so I ain't partying for my birthday no more.
Mhm.
Even though my mom's birthday the same day, so they were still having parties for her at the club, and I was kind of hesitant about going because I didn't want to fall into the drinking thing no more. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I didn't feel I was strong enough to go to the bars, you know. But anyway,
But you were
he
disciplined and staying away. Like you,
yeah,
you knew
I
you knew your
really
strengths and you
tried.
knew your
Yeah, I
weaknesses.
had to get a little bit stronger before I did that because
Okay.
I just didn't want to fall back into that drink because I use drinking and drugs for a whole different thing. I'm sure a lot of people do, but I know mine was not good for me.
Okay.
I had so much that was against me.
Mhm.
Me first, because I had the
Mhm.
low self esteem, and I was just so even with low self esteem and meeting this kind of man, he changed some things for me
Mm.
about me,
Mhm.
even though I got into some other stuff. So my birthday came, I wasn't going to the club. My son wanted these certain gym shoes. I used to always, go to little Payless or whatever, but he wanted these shoes and, they cost, a little bit more.
Mhm.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get my son something. I'm gonna get him what he wants for my birthday. Like,
Mm.
that's cool. So I'm looking for these shoes and I can't find them. So now I'm calling around to shoe stores asking them for the shoes. And they told me, they was like, we have one pair left. It's at the mall. And we gonna have who became gentleman number
8.
8. We gonna have that gentleman hold the shoes for you. I'm like, okay, I'll
Mhm.
be there. So I go there to pick up the shoes, and this young man I'm like, he was just talking to me like, I don't know if he was like, wow, I'm holding shoes for her son. Oh, okay. I
Mhm.
don't know what he was thinking, but he was like trying to kind of talk to me on the
Mhm.
slide.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I knew what I had just came out of. I
Mhm.
knew I had, I was still going through what I was going through about gentleman number
7.
7. I wasn't, it just wasn't. So I remember paying for the shoes and he all over looking at my ID.
Mm.
So I had my Midway Airlines ID and my driver's license because I was trying to pay him. So he saw those things. I was like, okay, let me get out of here, right?
Mhm.
Because he was trying to talk to me and I just wasn't ready for it. I knew I wasn't ready, but all that changed in a matter of maybe 30 days. It
Okay.
wasn't even 30 days because my birthday was in March and me and my son went to we flew to Disney World in April I think it was spring break. So in March, I'm thinking, okay, I work for the airline. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I work for the airline, and when we get a personal call, if somebody call, it don't have to be personal. If they ask directly for us, then normally the reservation agent will come and get you. So she came to my desk. She said, "There's a man on the phone asking for you." Mind you, he didn't saw my Midway Airlines ID. I'm not thinking about him though. He didn't saw my driver's license. Still not thinking about him. When they said it's a man on the phone, I'm thinking it's gentleman number 7. And things didn't work out with him and baby mom. And he calling to talk to me about it, right? It was gentleman number 8.
Okay.
So now he's like chasing me. And I think it's something about when a man is chasing a woman. That don't mean he's the right one, but there's something that I think triggers a woman when a man goes after her like that. I already had low self-esteem. So for him to be chasing me, I'm feeling a little,
Wow.
I was like, oh, he want me like that. Okay. So I started dating him. We had a couple of lunches. Maybe the end of that month of March. Because I know it was happening before I went to Disney World, and that was in April. We didn't have sex, but the kissing and the touching went to another level.
Okay.
So things got a little heated for us. And then, so I come back from Disney World, and things went to a whole nother level. And so long story short, I did we were going out to eat, but now we're having dinner at my house. So we had a candlelight dinner in my Who says don't never, if I had to tell my younger person, don't never set yourself up like that.
Yeah,
don't do that. You awakening all these feelings. Don't do it. Don't do it. So but I think him chasing me like that made me feel some kind of way about myself. Because I'm like, why are you chasing me like this? He must really.
Yeah.
But then he had his own stuff going on, but I only knew a little bit of it, because he had already been married, divorced. He had already, even before he got married, had a son at 16.
Okay.
He got his minister's license when he was like 19 or 20, and was trying to, you know what I'm saying? So I was thinking, because I'm in church now, and it's been, a few years, but I still wasn't, and I was like, me and him might be able to do something.
Okay.
Because he know the Lord and blah, 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 right?
Right.
So that's what I thought.
Okay.
But I knew that the Lord had told me to stop sleeping with gentleman number 7. So when that thing happened with gentleman number 8, that one time, I lost it. I mean, I cried.
And that one thing was you guys had sex. Okay.
Right. And so I told him, I was like, I can't do this. I mean, I was screaming, told him, get out. Blah, blah. I went through my whole thing because, and it wasn't his fault. It was my fault, but I knew at that moment I can't be with him because, apparently sex is not an issue for me and him. So I need somebody that's going to walk through some stuff with me without sex. And I know not many men will do that.
And, and listen to what you're saying. It's like all of a sudden you established a standard.
Yeah.
Because,
even though I still
because gentleman
yep.
number 7,
yeah.
you were kind and I'm going to give it to you.
Right.
But now you meet gentleman number 8 and you're trying not to lead with sex. You establish a standard now, whether you realize it or not, that I want to be in a relationship That's not driven by sex.
Correct.
Wow.
And so, but he had his own stuff going on. So, when that happened, with my cycle being every 28 days, that you could time it. After having sex with him, I got real sick, and so I was in so much pain. Instead of going to work, I'm on my way to work, but I'm in so much pain. I go straight to the emergency room. But I call him.
Okay.
So he came to the hospital because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I mean, when I tell you that pain was so, it was so bad. I'm like, y'all got to do something for me. So they took all the tests and they were like, ma'am, you had a cyst on your ovaries and it has already burst. We need to prep you for surgery. And by the way, we need to save the baby. I'm like, what baby? Eyes went off. They thought I was crazy. They was going to call the white coats. They was like, y'all, we can have one in here. Because I heard them talking outside of the little room, just got that little curtain. They was like, y'all, we got one. She talking about, she pregnant, talking about she ain't do nothing. But that's how I looked at it with gentleman number 8. I felt like we didn't do nothing. I'm like, ain't no way this is happening.
Only one time.
We did, and that's all it take. I know that, but in my mind, I'm like, no way this is happening, right? I was like, no, give me another doctor. Give me another nurse. Give me somebody. She was like, well, what? Ma'am, we need to prep you for surgery. I said, take another test. There's no way I'm pregnant. They took another test. It came back positive. They said, ma'am, we need to prep you for surgery. We need to get with this like right away. Doctor's already here.
Because the cyst was toxic, right?
Right, because when cyst, and I found out that every cycle women have an opportunity to get a cyst on their ovaries or whatever it's on, attaches itself. And it can be like mine.
Okay.
It don't have to, but that's what my pain was about because mine had burst. So I probably had one before that never burst. This one burst. Okay. That's how I found out I was pregnant. He's sitting in the waiting room, in the emergency room. And I said, go get I'm heated, I'm livid. So they go get him. So he come in, I'm crying. It's like, what's wrong? What? I was like, oh, so you love me, huh? He was like, yeah. So you love this baby too? He said, what baby? You know what I'm saying? He don't know. So, oh my goodness. Yeah, that thing was crazy. So I go upstairs. So I call my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother. I'm calling people. They come into the hospital. But because of what God had said to me about gentleman number 8, I feel like I just blew it. Because in my mind, even though I know it only takes one time, I wouldn't have never thought that I was obedient to walk away from gentleman number 7 to get pregnant by gentleman number 8 that I don't even know that well. I didn't even know him 90 days.
So what was it that
we didn't
God
have a
said
friendship?
To you?
Huh?
What was it that God
about
said to
gentleman number 7? Stop having sex.
Stop. Okay.
So why would I
engage
listen
with a new person?
Why?
Okay.
So they prepped me for surgery. Family's in the room. Some things are being said. I ain't gonna repeat them. But I will say this: while they're rolling me down, they got to do the whatever, the anesthesiologist, all that stuff. While they're rolling me to the operating room, this was my prayer. I said, Lord, I'm sorry. This is like, I blew it big time this time. So why don't you, while I'm under this knife, just bring me and the baby home. And now my mom and the family can take care of my son like they would have did years ago when his father got killed. So let that be. Let this, because I'm done.
So you didn't want to
I didn't
live
want to
no more.
live. Right. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
I
didn't.
get it.
And I woke up in the recovery room furious. So I'm going through these 9 months. I'm sad every day. I'm crying almost every day because I'm having a baby by somebody I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I knew him for almost 90 days. That's not, you know what I'm saying? So we got back together because now I'm pregnant. But I knew that I wasn't supposed to be with him because of how it started. We didn't really build a friendship. We built an acquaintanceship, I call it. You know, he didn't know me. I didn't know him. I needed to know more. He needed to know more, but we didn't. So now we just throwed into being parents.
And a father. Yeah.
And now, mind you, I got one baby that his father got killed when he was 5 months old. Now he's 11. But even before that, I had the abortion. Then after that, I had the miscarriage. Now here come baby number 4 with somebody I barely know. Right?
Wow.
And so I was at this, because I'm still walking in this guilt, shame, condemnation about what happened with my son. Did we talk about that? I don't know.
With your son's father?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So.
And not knowing who, definitely on paper.
Right.
Is that what you're, okay.
Correct. And so now, so I'm having this baby. Abortion is no longer an option because now I'm in church. I'm learning about God. So I definitely couldn't have an abortion, right? I'm in a different space in my mind anyway.
Right.
Like when I had that abortion right after his funeral, I believe I was out of my mind. And, you know, people told me, yeah, you could have sued the people that did it. And I was like, nope, I was out of my mind. They weren't out of their mind. That's their business. They do abortions. And so I never fought that. But I knew it wasn't an option. It wasn't on the table. And so guess who I called? Gentleman number 7. Okay. My friend, because that's my friend.
Okay.
So I told him I needed to talk to him. It was devastating news for me. We go to the park. I told him. He went off first. He's sweet face. You wouldn't even give me no more. How you end up giving them? So you know, okay. I was like, I don't know. And girl, we sat in that park and cried together. That's the kind of friend he was for me. So we cried together. And I'm like, ugh. And he getting ready to marry
his baby mama.
The baby's mom.
Okay.
But he still came to see about me, you know. And so I had the baby. And I still knew I wasn't supposed to be with him. But I didn't have, with my low self-esteem issue, I didn't have the capacity, if I can use that word, to let him go. And I had guilt, shame, and condemnation hovering. So this is what I told myself. I said, okay, he got 2 sons. Now we got a daughter. We're not married. I don't need to be living with him. But I'm living with him. Excuse me. But I'm living with him anyway. I can't do this unless I'm married. But I'm not ready to get married. Especially not to him because I don't know him really like that. And so I waited. I waited 18 months.
18 months before y'all lived together.
And I married him.
Okay.
18 months later. I didn't have the courage, only because the guilt showed up in the fact that here's a man, even though I don't know him that well, that wants his baby. has an opportunity to help raise his child. And here I am, like, nope. Yeah, I don't think yeah. But the guilt was my son's father didn't stand a chance. He didn't have an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But now here this man won't, and who am I to say no to him? So I didn't know how to walk away from him with the baby and allow him to be in her life separate from living with him. So I lived with him for 18 months and married him.
Okay.
So and the rest is kind of history.
I hope our audience is taking a liking to our special guest story on brokenness and forgiveness. Over the next 4 weeks, she will continue to take us on a journey in which she's sharing her story on how she overcame some of the darkest and most challenging moments in her life. Be on the lookout for weekly drops every Thursday. And remember, Be Me Global is a safe place where you can authentically keep it real and be yourself. See you next time.